Trump versus Zelensky. The Great Crisis. Between the U.S., Ukraine, and Europe, Trump suspends military aid to Ukraine. Zelensky seeks support from Europe. How will this decision impact the war? Recently, a major crisis has erupted between the U.S. and Ukraine. U.S. President Donald Trump had a heated argument with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky at the White House. Following this, Trump suspended new military aid shipments to Ukraine. But what is the real reason behind this decision? Will this move accelerate Russia's advance in Ukraine? Is Europe stepping in to take America's place in supporting Zelensky? In this video, we will break down the Trump-Zelensky crisis, the suspension of U.S. military aid, and Europe's new role in the conflict. Tensions escalate at the White House. U.S. President Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky recently met at the White House for a discussion. However, this meeting turned into a heated argument. Trump: "We have given Ukraine $350 billion in aid, Zelensky. That number is not accurate. The real amount is around $200 billion. Immediately after this argument, a shocking announcement was made. The U.S. suspended new arms sales to Ukraine. Pentagon shipments from U.S. military stockpiles were halted. However, the White House stated, "This does not mean the end of military aid. We will continue to assess the situation." But is that really the case? Some officials claim that this decision was made before the White House argument. However, American media reports suggest that Trump made new decisions on Ukraine aid after his dispute with Zelensky. This development could have major consequences, not just for Ukraine, but also for Europe and NATO. Is the U.S. abandoning Ukraine? The Trump administration argues that aid to Ukraine is harming the U.S. economy. However, some experts believe that this is a strategy to pressure Europe and NATO. Recent headlines in American media: is Trump cutting support for Ukraine? Is Zelensky losing U.S. backing? Will Europe take over as Ukraine's protector? While Trump reduces U.S. support, how did Europe react? To answer this, let's take a look at Zelensky's recent diplomatic efforts in Europe. Zelensky turns to Europe for support. After the crisis at the White House, Zelensky turned to Europe. His first stop was the UK. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer gave Zelensky full support. The UK and Ukraine signed a £2.26 billion military loan agreement. Does this mean Europe is stepping up to support Ukraine independently of the US? France and Germany also increased their support for Ukraine. However, even within Europe, there is debate about whether long-term support for Ukraine is sustainable. Will the divide between the U.S. and Europe benefit Russia? How will Russia take advantage of this crisis? The Kremlin's message is clear. The West is falling apart.